This fellow, Sarcastic Chorus, made a video, Lois is not the new Amber, and here's why. I agree with this take. For those of you that are unaware, the new My Adventures with Superman movie, show, whatever, Lois Lane figured out that Clark was Superman, and got so pissy and annoyed that she was insufferable for a full episode and a half, running after him, saying that he betrayed her and all that shit, and she felt so terrible and betrayed that Superman didn't reveal her identity. In order to prove that Superman was really Clark Kent, instead of just saying, "Yo, home dog, I think you're Superman," she decided the appropriate thing to do would be jump off a building. And if he is Superman, he'll save her. And then she could say, "I do it, you." So, there's been this whole debate, is she like Amber from Invincible? And I think she's not. So I'm very excited that Sarcastic Chorus, who we have very different opinions on most cartoons, at least we seem to be on the same state. In my opinion, Lois Lane from the new Superman has fantastic Rule 34.
So for everyone blessed by ignorance of not being on Twitter, home of the dumbest rebrand in history and the most pointless drama possible for two brain-celled organisms, my
man just spitting.
Adventures with Superman caught a lot of flack with how it handled Lois finding out Superman's secret identity. Naturally, they started comparing this situation to Amber in Invincible, cause, and this is just my completely accurate guess, Invincible is the only other animated superhero property that they've seen that isn't in the MCU.
Oh my god, that's not even a bad take. Oh my god! It's actually a kind of sick take. Now, the major difference I think between Invincible and My Adventures with Superman is My Adventures with Superman is mid with cute moments, whereas Invincible is phenomenal and clearly made for adults. I think that's a pretty solid difference between them.
Now, some criticisms are valid. These are not, but for the sake of this intro, let's pretend that they are. It's just the exact same situation when you think about it. Amber knew her boyfriend was a superhero and got mad at him for lying about it, just like how Lois got mad at Clark for not telling her he's Superman.
I mean, I assume he's gonna get into why they're different in just a moment, but they are so different, bro. What?
And then proceed to try and kill herself just to prove a point.
Yeah, that was potentially the stupidest thing she could have possibly done. I feel like there is a mental block against characters literally just saying what they're thinking to other characters.
These are both situations where people got mad at their partner for lying about being a superhero, so clearly it must be the same thing, even though it's not. And as someone who's built their whole career off of shipping, I'm contractually obligated to talk
oh god, this man's so proud of as the ship master
about this very extremely unserious situation. As when you boil this down to just the bullet points, yeah, it's similar, but these are two completely different situations.
I completely agree.
Mark, think!
So I guess
he did the thing! He did the me!
We should start by talking about superhero dating. I hate it. Watching somebody
incredibly based, unfathomably the correct take. Superhero dating might be the worst subgenre in all of superheroes. Dude, even The Boys, which I think is the golden candidate for the best superhero show ever made. Superhero dating, even in The Boys, is annoying.
Screw up their social life on account of living a double one has never been a fun experience for me. Doesn't matter if it was Spider-Man or Hannah Montana, this shit plays out the exact same way.
It does! And there's always that one point, it's like, but you were lying to me all along. I had to. I don't care that you had to. You could have told me anything. You knew that, but you didn't really trust me, did you?
Single time. People make plans.
See, the best superhero dating is when both the daters are actually superheroes. It's not the superhero dating that's insufferable. It's the superhero dating while trying to maintain a double life cringe that's insufferable.
Hero gonna hero, then they're gonna get chewed out for missing brunch. Cause that
oh god, it hurts every time.
Is truly the biggest travesty here.
The public is in danger!
My evening's in danger!
You tell me what my suit is, woman! We are talking about the greater good!
Now
that is a great example of appropriate superhero dating. That was hilarious. I love Incredibles. Oh my god.
Situation has always been something that I have just never cared for. On one hand, I get what it's doing. Being a hero should involve sacrifice, or else it's just a power fantasy.
Alright, so then you know what you should sacrifice? Your dating life, because you can't actually date someone and seriously love someone and have a relationship with someone if you're not willing to share your truth with them.
They have a double life and it isn't all fun and games, so having to force the hero to choose between what they want and their duty to help others is a strong way
You said duty.
to show the toll the mask can take. It is a bitter pill about the small compromises that we all have to make in life, and how even doing the right thing can have negative consequences. Yet no matter how many times I've watched this situation, it's never not pissed me off. As you see, this is a fucking superhero show. Do not waste my time by pretending this is gonna be a hard call, or that the hero won't guilt themselves into doing the right thing. This situation isn't a test of character, it's a formality.
Honestly, that's a good point. It's like, at this point, you're not even really testing this person's character. Like, when it comes to either saving the world or going to brunch, there is no actual choice and suffrage that man has to make. So I think that's a very valid take, honestly. Damn. What I do find weird is, even though we have so many superhero shows where the main superhero is a lady, why do we never have the bitchy guy that's like, you promised me that you'd suck my dick tonight, but you were fighting crime. This is so unfair. Like, why don't we have any of that?
One that I just want to wrap up and move on to the stuff I actually care about. Not to mention, more often than not, the significant other of these situations almost always comes off as a bitch. Like,
Yes.
Yes, this is a recurring problem, valid to be angry, but the story is from the perspective of the hero, not the other one. So the person we are always going to
Man just called his girlfriend the other one, jeez.
sympathy for is the hero, as we see that they are trying to make the best out of a bad situation, and they did all that only to get bitched at. Your constant thing, just tell them your secret identity already, and it just leads to the whole thing just feeling like a colossal waste of your time, where nobody comes out of it looking good except for the poor woe is me hero.
When Amber did it in Invincible, I was like, my reaction was so much more lukewarm than every other reaction. People were losing their mind over that Amber twist of Amber being upset that he was saving people instead of going to brunch, and I was just like, well, fuck that bitch, on to the next, But like, that was kind of my reaction, because I've gotten so jaded and used to that trope. But that's because Invincible's a superhero show where the focus is really on saving the planet. My Adventures with Superman is a focus on the character drama, which is why I do feel like it was more warranted and acceptable, even though Lois was annoying.
Pretty much every story with a secret identity and dating does this, leading me to stop caring so much that I'm not checked out. I'm just gone. But it's a staple of the genre, so we are never going to be free of it. As TV has evolved, there has been a trend to break and play with the soap opera-y tropes of the past. See, rather than having the oblivious love interest not figure out the obvious, they just do. This is done for a couple reasons. The big one being, we don't have time for this. These shows are getting canceled left and right. They're paying people for one season, then cut.
That is very true. However, also, this is much more of a character piece than the original Superman. The original Superman TV show was great, but it always was about the crime fighting. It was a very episodic story with very stagnant character development. This show is all about the character development. It definitely took that more anime-ish approach, trying to lean into that whole character development stuff. And, I think that's why it kind of felt like a bitch slap when they went to the generic formula.
Cutting in half and calling it two. These stories do not have the luxury of dragging out any of these superhero reveals. Plus, all these heroes are terrible at hiding their secret identities. Coincidences that would have been hand-waved before are now just as obvious to the characters as they are to us, leading to the hero unintentionally outing themselves, while also making everyone else seem slightly more competent. And this is where Lois...
It's not just about slightly more competent. Superman is a Superman. I think that the struggle should be completely focused on Superman trying to live a normal human life. That should be the focus of the show. Every time the focus is, oh no, Superman is fighting, but oh, he's being defeated by his enemy because his enemy has a mega super cyber power. Oh, well, if only Lois can flip the switch so that he can win this fight. All that stuff, all that needs to freaking stop.
Lois and Amber come in. Now, the Invincible situation. They kinda screwed themselves over on this one. I get what they were trying to do, but in trying to hide the reveal and to subvert some tropes, it ends up making Amber look way worse in hindsight. See, Amber is the girlfriend of Mark, aka Invincible. Now, Amber is, well, I've called her the stopgap love interest, though the disposable black love interest is just as accurate, as she is mostly just here so that Mark doesn't immediately start dating Eve. Like, I haven't read the comics, but Eve is so clearly endgame that it makes all of this just kind of insulting. Even Mark almost hooked up after she left her boyfriend, except, oh no, he just started making out with this other girl. So now we have to wait a season and a half for them to—
My girl out here getting cucked so hard, oh my god. Sneeko, Sneeko relating right now. Sneeko out there freaking Sneeko just going for it.
To actually get together. But over the course of this first one, Mark is a bad boyfriend. He's trying his best, but the superhero life is killing his game. With him being on thin ice as he continually drops the ball, not showing up for plans as he is busy saving lives. Or just getting his ass beat by furry Thanos.
God, furry Thanos! Okay, damn. That's rough, buddy.
This leads to Amber demanding to know what they're doing in their relationship, and if they should just break up already. She is giving this man second and third chances, till they're busy looking at colleges together, where Mark has a dip to be a hero, only for Amber to yell at him about it, calling him a coward for running away, leaving them behind.
Wow, that hurts.
With the situation culminating in Amber breaking up with him, leading Mark to say fuck it, revealing his superhero identity, as he is doing the thing that every audience thinks that they want. As most people think that revealing the superhero identity is just the easy answer to fix all the relationship drama, except it doesn't, which is kind of smart. But the real
I agree, that is kind of smart. The only problem is it's only smart because Amber's insufferable, and none of this made sense to begin with.
problem here is that there is a second reveal.
Did you hear what I just said?
Ugh, I know you're a superhero.
You know? You know?
Yeah, so this is where
Oh god, I totally forgot it was that bad. Oh my god. Oh no. Yeah, and she already knows. And but if you do know, then why were you upset at me that when I missed brunch to literally save people's lives and get brutally injured, why didn't you care? Because you didn't tell me the truth, Mark. Because you didn't tell me the truth.
Invincible stumbles over itself as it pretends to act like it has something to say, even though it does not have the time or really the willpower or interest in saying it. See, Amber knowing Mark's secret makes the previous interactions feel out of place and excessively hostile. If she doesn't know that he's a hero and went to go save her life, then her yelling at him makes sense. If she thought that he just left her to die, valid reason to be mad. But if she knows, then her getting this pissed off at Mark suddenly doesn't have a leg to stand on. It makes the writing seem inconsistent, with the only saving grace you can really consider in this situation, the most charitable of takes. And maybe the ones the writers wanted.
I'm ready for the charitable take here. I do not know any charitable takes, bro. I'm ready to hear it.
But just didn't put in the effort to make clear was that they wanted the audience to look back at the scene in hindsight and think, oh, she's not mad that he ran away. She's mad at him for lying to her face.
You know, I'm sorry, bro. Not an excuse.
And continually lying to her as he refuses to be honest about what's going on, and that her yelling at him is her trying to force him to out his secret identity to her. Which, okay, I can get behind that.
Except you are literally upset at this man who's saving people. I feel like it goes both ways. Him keeping a secret from her and her keeping a secret that she knows his secret are kind of the same.
Except the episode in question doesn't do enough to actually imply that that's what's going on. It is so busy trying to play this trope straight that it doesn't have enough time to really build up to the subversion. So this reveal just adds problematic elements of its own, as it now laces the situation with its own hypocritical elements. As she's being written to be the one who is super cool, super chill, but just wants honest communication. And now, rather than just telling him, I know you're a superhero, let's chat.
Nope, she decides to do everything in the world until it's too late.
She's now trying to manipulate and force him into confessing.
And Lois did do the same thing, by the way.
She's cornering him where he has to either keep lying to her or admit that he is a superhero. This situation combines the worst parts of superhero dating sim. They keep the fight, but have her actually know the secret. It's this narratively messy situation where anything the writers were trying to say kind of falls flat on its ass.
Damn. You heard about all these writers going on strike, gamers? You hear about that?
As hindsight really doesn't save any of these interactions or give you a big aha moment where you understand what's going on. They play this situation completely straight. Then they try to have their cake when they said, oh no, we're trying to do something smart. But it just makes
Yeah, not every twist works just because it's a twist. I feel like people forget this a lot. Twists need to work because the twist needs to make sense. You can't just make a twist and expect people to love it because it's a twist. The biggest plot twist I have ever seen in any show ever is in Future Diary. A very mid anime, if I do say so myself. In Future Diary, I'm not gonna spoil the twist because why should I? But Future Diary has potentially the biggest twist in the history of fiction. That doesn't make Future Diary a masterpiece.
Worse in hindsight, as they did too good of a job burying what's really going on.
God, man, literally going for round 2 upstairs right now.
The idea of what they're going for. But if the majority of people and critics who watch this and didn't get what they were going for, then it's a problem more with the writers than anybody else.
Incredibly based. When it's just too deep for you to understand, then they didn't do a great job. I'm not an idiot here that I need to be smarter to understand. It's like when everyone says, oh, you just didn't understand the subtle nuances of Neon Genesis Evangelion. No, dog, I understood the subtle nuances. It's just not the best show of all time.
As in trying to subvert the reveal cliche, they did Amber so dirty. As rather than writing a situation with messy people, the only thing that's messy is the narrative, which I think is the biggest difference between Amber and Lois' situation.
I completely agree. I think that is a very valid take. I think that when it comes to Lois, they're really worried about the character writing the whole time, and they made Lois an impulsive character from day one. This is a very solid point to make, because with Amber, they really tried to make her all cool, calm, and collected in the beginning, and then she totally became a basket case. Whereas with Lois, they made her impulsive the whole time. Her impulsivity is a bad decision. They are not trying to get you to relate to Lois Lane. They're creating an impulsive character. So when the impulsive character gets all emotional and huffy about it, while yes, it's incredibly annoying, no, I don't think it's inconsistent with her character writing and terrible of her.
And it's that the writing is actually consistent.
Hey!
So people were really mad about nothing here. Or more accurately, they're trying to be mad for clout. See, My Adventures with Superman is a reimagining of the Superman mythos, one that puts Clark, Lois, and Jimmy on more even footing than previous iterations. This is an ensemble show, with Clark trying to figure out who he is and what it means to be Superman, while Lois, in contrast, is just an intern who dreams of being a hotshot reporter, with
Yeah. I mean, she's crazy, but yeah.
Jimmy being the glue that holds the group together, while also series that are almost always correct. This show is pretty much Superman for bisexuals, and you gotta respect it.
What?
Clark and Lois slowly fall in love, while Jimmy is being their biggest
I love how it's a slice of life show, and he's just like, slice of life. Yeah, Superman for bisexuals. So true.
supporter and cockblock. Now early on, the central plot for Lois' character is to discover the truth about Superman. Who he is, where he came from, why is he just so perfect, only for all of Clark's attempts to give her answers that he doesn't have, leading her to be more suspicious. All the while, they're growing romantically closer. This romance hits a fat snag when Lois puts together that Clark is Superman. Discovering an article he stole from the evidence pile talking about a flying boy from his hometown, that plus the amount of now obvious evidence in hindsight,
and the fact that, they look identical.
bad excuses about leaving to do something only to not do it, signs of super strength, Lois is 99.9% sure that Clark is Superman.
But instead of telling him, instead of being like, hey dude, who's like borderline my boyfriend at this point that I know very well, that's a very close friend of mine, aside from being like, hey homeboy, home dog, home skillet, are you by any choice Superman? And he'll be like, oh damn, you figured that out, didn't you, woman? Nope. The show decides that she holds it in for a full episode and then jumps off a building, faking her, trying to commit suicide, where he has no choice but to save her, and then she gets all upset and says, well, I don't have to tell you my secrets either.
But wants to be 100 before confronting him about it.
He is your best friend. If you have a theory, just ask him. And if you're wrong, you're wrong.
She concocts schemes about catching Superman in the lie, trying to get Superman and Clark to be in the same room to prove that they can't, all while trying to let him know that he can tell her anything, that he can let her know the secret. With Clark not connecting the
even though she literally said 2 episodes earlier that Superman's a liar, I'm gonna expose him to everyone. So I kind of get it.
Thoughts in his beautiful head that she knows. Lois desperately handcuffs herself to the hero to make him wait for Clark to show up. All this is her just trying to get over that confirmation hump to make Clark admit that he's Superman.
Or you could ask him.
Only for him to break the cuffs and to put her on top of the Daily Planet. Returning later as Clark after getting beaten up by a pretty boy Slade.
Femboy Slade will forever be my favorite gender. I'm just saying.
Lois, seeing that he can get actually hurt, is not having any of it anymore. She stops pussyfooting around and Clark continues to evade her questions. So?
No. It's not that she stopped pussyfooting around and Clark's evading her questions. She did not ask a question. She asked, how did you get hurt? No. You know what would have been a really great question? If she would have said, hey, are you Superman? And he would have been like, you got me, damn it. Instead of, this is pussyfooting around.
She says F it and jumps off the building.
I knew it!
Now, some people have taken issue with Lois putting her life on the line like she
I
did.
don't think she put her life on the line. She knew it was Superman. My issue isn't that she jumped off the building as much as that why didn't she just ask him?
People have used this as proof of her being toxic. That worse than Amber, she essentially forced Clark to choose between keeping his secret and letting her die.
Okay, no. That's too extreme. That's not true. She's not toxic. She's just impulsive and selfish.
This idea, though, to me, ignores the fact that Lois Lane would jump off a building for a Kit Kat bar and to cut 7 minutes out of her commute. Lois has been doing this for years, so I can see why people may not like the behavior. To call this toxic is a bit much for me, as Lois here is a messy person, which is perfect. His Clark is also a massive hot mess. Both of them are pissed off
He is a pretty hot mess if I do that to myself.
for doing the exact same shit. Lois is mad at Clark for lying about being Superman, saying that she could have helped and he led her on a goose chase for the last couple weeks, even though the answer was right next to her the entire time. Clark, meanwhile, was pissed off at her for jumping off the building and for lying in the premiere about them being on a special assignment when really she was just tricking them into helping her with a case. The both of them will lie their asses off if they think it's for the greater good.
That's right, baby. This is a toxic relationship for one reason or another, but they're perfect for each other. And that's why this is a romance show. And the reason why it was annoying is because she was annoying. Not because it was terrible character writing or anything. I think the character writing was fine when it came to Lois. She's just a messy, impulsive person.
Good, only to get pissed off when it happens to them, with their bickering leading them to forget that they had a trip with Jimmy, who was already feeling like he was on the outs of the friend group, reminding not just us, but them, that their actions and secrets have unintended negative consequences. Them keeping secrets and fighting is what's toxic, not just Lois. There's a bigger government conspiracy going around with connections to Clark's Kryptonian past, but rather than pooling their resources, they divide their attention. Clark refusing to tell Lois that he's Superman leads her to waste her energy on a mystery with no answers. While as we would discover later, Clark has never told anyone about his powers outside of his parents. Jimmy actually is already aware that Clark is Superman, as living with a
Jimmy was the Amber all along. Oh my god.
klutz with super strength is gonna cue you in real fast. But even Jimmy's decision to respect Clark's privacy contributes to the same split focus problem.
Yep, because that means Jimmy the whole time knew. And how dare Jimmy be upset that Superman didn't go on a camping trip?
As trying to be respectful translated into being passive. As a problem of who is Superman consumed their lives, Lois was doing dumb shit over it. Clark is trying to have his cake and eat it too, by asking out Lois, not telling her he's Superman, and also getting her to help him out with his origin story. Everyone here is messy. The show is built around these three developing their relationships and solving the bigger mysteries of the series.
True. I think that this show is a character piece, and a lot of people aren't willing to accept that. People are still viewing it as, the typical superhero show, when this is a character piece first and foremost. I don't think I'm as pro the characters as Sarcastic Chorus over here, but I am not as against it as Twitter likes to, or X.com likes to be.
It's a reimagined origin story for Superman, so people trying to act like this is some massive breaking point for the show, rather than the speed bump it actually is eye-rolling to me. The show is only halfway done, and they are not wasting my time. They're getting this identity reveal and fight out of the way, and doing it so that nobody looks incompetent for not figuring out that Clark was Superman earlier. And they do it all while tying into the flaws of the characters. Lois is reckless, Clark avoids conflict, and Jimmy is the real casualty, who is unintentionally letting this problem fester. Meanwhile, in Invincible, Amber and Mark are cute, but clearly not endgame. So the sloppy writing of trying to subvert the hero identity reveal makes everything look worse, not better in hindsight.
While yes, I think that Lois is not the new Amber, and I think that this is incredibly valid completely, it doesn't make them not look bad for just being assholes.
People were real comfortable talking shit about Amber, a little too comfortable.
No, just the right amount of comfortable. She was horrible.
But the story problem here is that we only ever get Mark's perspective. We never get the hints that Amber actually knows his secret and pretty much throws them back together in the finale to kill more time for Eve. In contrast, My Adventures with Superman gives us everyone's perspective on the situation. They are all co-equal leads, so we get the time for the nuance of the situation set in. This show is the best version of the superhero dating sim that we have ever gotten.
I love that this man literally is like, the best version of the superhero dating sim shows naked Clark Kent.
But people really want to ignore all that to make a mountain out of a molehill.
I agree though. I think that as far as slice of life superhero shows, this is kinda up there.
As outrage builds clout, people were literally getting mad over nothing. But to me, the real weirdness of all this, and the one lesson that you should take away, is how we need to stop getting so mad at fictional characters and instead just start questioning why they were written like that in the first place. as that is always the real problem.
So true. I'm not upset at Amber. I don't think Amber did anything wrong because Amber's not real. I think the writers messed up with the character that is Amber.
My adventures with Superman has been great so far. Video about the show overall or just the ship? Let me know what you guys want me to talk about down below. Like, share, and subscribe. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go back to playing Baldur's Gate 3.
That was a good video all in all. I do appreciate you pointing out this contrast. I think you did right there. You did right there. That's appropriate. I do think that you didn't highlight the fact that she's just kind of insufferable sometimes, and that's unacceptable. But all in all, while I wouldn't say she's a terribly written character, I wouldn't say she's a really well-written character either. She's really kind of in the middle. And goddamn, that Rule 34 slaps. Anyway, moving on.
Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.